Mr. President, Excellencies, distinguished speakers and guests, ladies and gentlemen, we come now to the closing of what I believe has been an extremely rich day of discussion. Not so very long ago, it was still a commonly held belief that the promotion of welfare was merely a function of the right development strategy and the necessary capital investment. Sadly, the 20th century saw many hopes of lasting prosperity postponed because the development strategy chosen was not sustainable. The lesson to be learned was that sustainable economic and social development is the result of a complex balance of a large number of factors, one of which is respect for the rule of law. Law reform has therefore become an essential component of modernization programs in most countries, particularly but not only in developing ones. There are three facets to such a reform. Law reform to establish or consolidate the rule of law and such, within the meaning attributed to it by our dear friend Professor Roy Good, that is human rights, good governance, access to justice. And also law reform to promote social development, labor, environmental law, women's rights, child protection, and law reform to promote the creation or circulation of wealth, land reform, business and commercial law reform, banking law reform, etc. The work of UNIDROIT, as we know, is more closely related to the third element, but our speakers today have made clear to us not only that it is not limited to that, but also that there is a clear interface between private law reform, private law harmonization, and broader public policies and political objectives. I would just highlight the points made by the representative of the Italian Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Bernardini, who stressed the importance of the work done by UNIDROIT in the area of cultural property and the area of agricultural development as two examples of how private law can contribute to the fulfillment of political objectives of the international community. His Eminence Cardinal Parolin brought us to a higher level of abstraction when citing an encyclical by Pope Paul VI, referred to our work as one of the steps towards achieving a world of peace and cooperation. The various panelists along the day in various topics have stressed that in their respective areas of expertise. I am deeply indebted to them in my own name and in the name of the Secretary for their having joined us today and for their enlightening contribution to our discussions. Ladies and gentlemen, laws that are outdated or are not based on harmonized or transparent standards may pose an obstacle to economic growth and sustainable development. They may increase commercial risk and transaction costs. They also may hamper the activities of commercial entities and restrict their participation in international trade. In such a legal environment, small and medium-sized enterprises with limited experience and poor access to legal advice may encounter particular difficulty in penetrating new markets, establishing new trade relations, and resolving disputes in a predictable and efficient manner. In addition, investment can be severely affected or may not take place at all. I leave it up for you to draw your own conclusions as to how far we are from promoting social development by promoting what we understand as the rule of law. The United Nations Commission on International Trade Law, the Hague Conference on Private International Law, and UNIDROIT are the three global intergovernmental organizations that are especially devoted to the modernization and harmonization of substantive private law and private international law. We at UNIDROIT are happy that the heads of the secretariats of those two organizations have accepted to join us today for the celebration of UNIDROIT anniversary. Each of them has made remarkable contributions to legal harmonization and will share a long history of cooperation, which we are committed to further develop in the future. These intergovernmental formulating agencies provide an excellent forum for sharing positive experience with business regulation as well. Our status as public institutions, our independence from economic interest groups, our balanced composition and neutrality are all valuable assets that confer a seal of trust and authority on our advice and the standards we produce. So we hope that today's symposium has helped promote awareness about this important work. Now, allow me just to stress that the work of our organization is not the work of an abstract entity, and if you allow me just to add a few personal notes, I'd simply like to pay a tribute to all those who have contributed to the work of UNIDROIT by singling out a few names of good old friends who have cared to join us in this room. One of them, actually 3 here present, former members of our governing council, which I'd like to single out by name: Professor Sir Roy Good, Professor Jacques Putzes, and Professor Didier Operti, who cared to join us today, and we're very much indebted for the contribution they've made to UNIDROIT. But I also mention, and also, since I will not be able to single out all my current staff for the contribution they have made to this event, I'd like to stress simply the presence also among us of 2 former Deputy Secretary General of UNIDROIT, Mr. Walter Rodinot and Mr. Martin Stanford, who have each of them spent more than 30 years of their lives in the service of this organization, and the organization owes quite a lot to them. So now that you're mentioning friends, and we're getting close to what some of our friends have already anticipated in the screen, so we count on the participants to spread the word about our useful activities, but we also know that the flow of information has to go with the flow of time. And now that since that even Pope Francis, heading an organization that is about to become 2,000 years old, has joined Twitter, we realized that at the age of 90, it was not too late for us to also become social. So you see, now we have joined Facebook. We're launching today our page. We invite you all to become friends, to show us your likes. Before we reassemble to celebrate our centennial, I hope we'll be seeing you in 1 hour or less, so for the cocktail at our seat at Villa Dobrandini, and to raise our glasses and wish UNIDROIT a happy birthday. I thank you all very much for your having shared this day of celebration with us, and I look forward to continue friendship and cooperation with you all. Thank you very much.